What's up guys, my name is Apollo and I'm going to be breaking down the hidden details and Easter eggs I found in the 5th episode of Loki titled Journey into Mystery. So let's get into it. 40 Easter eggs in less than 6 minutes. Let's go. Journey into Mystery is obviously a reference to the first time we ever see Loki in Journey into Mystery number 85 that was released in October 1962. As the show opens on the TVA screen, we see some more places and dates. One being Oak Island, Nova Scotia. Oak Island plays perfectly into the Loki series alongside D.B. Cooper, the discontinued drinks, Polybius, because Oak Island has its own curse that has been told for a century, in which there is a treasure on the island known as the Money Pit, and that 7 men will die before the treasure is ever found, alongside with random objects and other treasures that appear on the island. On the screen we also see Vormir and Rhea. Rhea was a planet in the Krona system and was the homeworld of the Kronans like Korg. We also see Zimbabwe and what looks like Seoul. After the TVA screen, we get a camera down tracking scene, very reminiscent of the scene of Loki and Valkyrie and Thor Ragnarok when they're talking to the Grand Master. When Loki is talking about having a plan, scattered around him looks like the 2 giant baby head statues named Day and Night in Boston, or more likely the busts known as the colossal heads of the Olmec. We're told that the purple entity in the sky that looks a lot like the devil's anus is known as Alioth. In the comics, Alioth is a trans-temporal entity existing across divergent timelines as an enormous cloud destroying everything it touches. It first appeared in the Avengers, the Terminatrix objective in 1993, alongside the first appearances of Revelation, Ravonna Renslayer, and Marcus Immortus, son of Kang and Ravonna. In the comics, once Alioth occupies a time period, it spreads out to engulf the adjacent realities and also negates temporal energy. Going on, we see the Thanos copter straight from every single meme that was made about it, as well as from Spidey Super Stories number 39. Now when we go into the Loki hideout, in the dirt we see a couple of relics. We see Mjolnir, and then we see Frog Thor, Throg, jumping towards Mjolnir, and Frog Thor is in a container that reads T365, which alludes to Thor issue 365, where Thor, the Thunder Frog, while in battle against rats, leads alligators to the surface, kind of like how Reptile Loki will be on the surface for a lot of this episode. The entire Loki hideout seems to be an underground bowling alley, which could be a nod to the underground bowling alley discovery being talked about in Phoenix earlier this year, but I doubt it because of the time. The Lokis drink Roxa wine, which must be a Roxcon product from Roxcart. The way Reptile Loki bites Boastful Loki foreshadows how Reptile Loki will then again attack another Loki in the same way to a much greater success. Classic Loki, the oldest, calls themselves the god of outcasts, which is another title that Odin holds in Norse mythology. As Loki is leaving the first 4 Loki he encounters, more Loki show up, including a Vote for Loki variant, playing off the time when Loki ran for president in the comics and people fucked with him because he wasn't afraid to lie, which is exactly what this Loki and his crew of Lokis do to each other. The sign that Sylvie passes is a Wrightsville Drive-In Theater sign that says Open Wednesday, which of course is the day that Loki comes out. On the sign it also says they're playing Oswald in The Martian, a reference to the short Mars with Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, a Disney cartoon that predates Mickey Mouse, who if you look into as a character, Oswald's description says that he likes mischief and being the center of attention, just like Loki. Back in the Loki hideout, we see a Space Mission pinball set from 1976. The Vote for Loki variant says he prefers snakes to wolves, may be a reference to how he has both a pet snake and pet wolf in Norse lore. We see what seems to be 9 other Loki variants, and I just love that one of them uses his hair to resemble the Loki horns. In the sequence where Classic Loki, Our Loki, and Kid Loki escape the hideout, the music has cues that resemble the Rick and Morty theme, and the teleportation graphic that Classic Loki uses during the same time resembles too much like Rick's teleporting. When Classic Loki leaves the hideout, he calls the other Lokis animals, which refers back to when Our Loki called the first 4 Lokis monsters when he was leaving the hideout. We see the famous USS Eldridge DE-173 of the Philadelphia experiment, where an alleged military experiment supposed to have been carried out by the US Navy was claimed to have made the ship go invisible, teleport to New York, teleport to another dimension, and teleport through time, resulting in the death of most of the sailors, some who were even fused with the ship's hull. Mobius says it's never too late to change to Classic Loki and Kid Loki. That inspires Classic Loki to distract Alioth at the end. On top of the hill before the climax, we see Ronan the Accuser's ship from Guardians of the Galaxy, the Dark Aster. Mobius says he's going to burn the TVA to the ground, referencing when Loki said he'd do the same thing in the first episode. In another scene, we get what looks like a discarded SHIELD helicarrier, but when we get a closer look, we see a red Hydra symbol on the top of it. Maybe this came from a reality where Captain America failed at stopping Project Insight and Hydra won. Classic Loki creates an illusion of Asgard, and Sylvie and Loki hold hands while energy flows through them, kind of like when the Guardians all held hands to stabilize the Power Stone at the end of the first movie. Almost forgot to mention, Mobius drives a Skinny's pizza car with a Missouri license plate. The license plate spells GRN W1D for Grin Wide. The Sphinx and Pyramid reminds me a lot of how Kang collected relics like this in Chronopolis, and yeah, I just forgot to put that in there, but now it's in there. Boom. Those are all the Easter eggs and hidden details I found in this week's episode. Definitely let me know if you found some more that I skipped over, and definitely subscribe to the channel and like the video, as it helps out my channel immensely. Thank you for watching, and see you soon. Now, I was trying to find some connection to the idea of a city named Wrightsville to Loki, but the only significant event that explicitly kept popping up was the Wrightsville 21 in 1959. Where 21 black students were burned to death in the early morning after being locked inside their dormitory. Now, I don't know what Wrightsville means to Marvel or to Loki, but it just seems strange to have that name be on a sign in a scene that they know fans are going to dissect. Yeah, that's all I have for that.